Hello and welcome back to Lifetime with Katie. I apologize for the kind of the delay or the gap in videos. Things got a little hectic on my end, and I'm going to try and get videos out a little more frequently. However, I'm probably not going to be doing every Saturday like I originally planned, just because I don't know, I got trying to get one out every Saturday, got a little hectic, and I would like to do more videos when I have something to talk about. Like I've got something I want to talk about, do a video, get it out to you, rather than wait, I do a video and it's not going to come out for 3 weeks. Getting things out to you as I want to talk about them. And that'll also give me the opportunity to cover more pro-life news as it happens, so that if something crazy happens in the pro-life world, I can get a video out to you and it's not going to be 2-3 weeks later. So that's kind of the plan now. I am still going to talk about social media, which is what I promised at the end of my last video. And then I'm going to put out a second video actually still today. Like you'll see 2 videos on the same day, talking about some of the pro-life bills that have come out in different states, especially the heartbeat bills. So I'll talk about those too, but that'll be a separate video. I don't want to make this video too long. Okay. So social media, okay, and being pro-life on social media. A lot of people I talk to are very nervous about talking about anything controversial on social media. And this comes from a lot of different places. One is that we use social media primarily to connect with friends and family. And when you bring up controversial issues, sometimes you find that you and your friends and family members are not on the same page when maybe you thought you were, or you know that they're not on the same page with you and you don't want to get into that with them. And I totally understand that. I have certain people in my circle, friends and family, who I purposefully do not bring up abortion with them. We do not have those conversations. And I also have people who definitely have a different opinion than me, but we can have those conversations respectfully, and it's not an issue. So you kind of have to judge that with your circle, with your people that you care about who think differently from you on this issue. I'm not going to tell you that you have to go bring this up at Thanksgiving dinner or that you have to go make this a big family drama, anything like that. But what I do want to encourage people is to think outside the box a little bit. So there's a few different things that I want to suggest to you if you're considering doing pro-life social media. Number one is choose the platform that works for you. When we talk about social media, most people think of Facebook and maybe Twitter, but there's a lot of other social media options out there. And so you could, and this is kind of what I've done, you could pick one where your, family members and friends aren't necessarily on that social media, but there's a lot of other people who you can kind of reach out to. So on my primary social media is Tumblr. I have friends, from real life who are on Tumblr, but I don't have a lot of my family members, and there's a little bit more freedom on Tumblr to unfollow somebody without, it's not the same as on Facebook where you're unfriending them. You're not friends with them anymore. Tumblr's a little more chill about that, I guess. And so, I'm very open on my Tumblr blog about being pro-life, about being conservative, all these other issues that I feel strongly about. And so I know I have real life friends who've stopped following me on Tumblr, and I get that. It makes sense. But I also gained a lot of followers and gained a lot of people who really appreciate the content that I post. So I think just differentiating kind of your personal social media where you use it to interact with family members on a personal level versus kind of activism social media. Having kind of maybe even having separate accounts for that. If let's say you're going to use Twitter, you might have a personal Twitter and then a pro-life Twitter. So having kind of separate accounts or separate social media identities to try and keep those two worlds separate. Once you're ready to be pro-life on social media, you're ready to get out there, be open about it, there's a few things that I suggest keeping in mind. And number one is speak the truth in love. This is something that people struggle with for some reason. I don't know. I get it. We get riled up about something. You hear something in the news, whatever, and you just want to rant. You want to vent about it. And that leads us to a couple of problems. One is that we aren't always the most loving and compassionate when we're in that mode. And so I really want to recommend to people that before you post on social media, stop, take a deep breath, maybe type out whatever it is you want to say, just, rant, type it all out, but don't hit send until you've taken a deep breath, read it over, and then post. Don't just give the first response that pops into your head. Especially if you're dialoguing with somebody, social media and the internet in general give us this really awesome opportunity to think before we speak. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't take that opportunity. But you do have the chance on social media to pause before you hit send or hit post and read over what you wrote and make sure it's really what you want to say. Okay? So take that opportunity. Another thing is verify before sharing. It is really easy, especially if you see a news article, a photo, a video, something that is posted by somebody who on social media who you respect. It's really easy just to go ahead and share that and be like, they wouldn't lie to me, and I don't think, they aren't necessarily lying to you, but somebody could have lied to them and they believed it. And false, fake news, false stories, false images, false videos can be passed around like this for a long time before anybody realizes that they're fake. So always check the source of what you're about to share. Where is it coming from? What is the evidence? Find a source if you can, if at all possible. And, just double check everything. I especially like to do this with organizations. I don't like to share information about an organization if I have not personally checked them out. And this can be a really quick check. It might just be like, okay, does this look like a legitimate organization? What do they actually do? How do people help? How do people get involved? I would just like to check it out first. And one of the reasons is that sometimes organizations that look awesome and, seem like they're doing some really great work turn out to actually be, supporting Planned Parenthood, or, there's some other kind of problematic thing with them, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to share that. So just verifying, checking your facts, checking your sources before you share something, and before you, have a big reaction about it. The third thing is conquer with kindness. We always say kill with kindness. I don't like that phrase because we're pro-life. We're not about that. But conquer with kindness. You can conquer. You can win. You can have victory. And so conquering with kindness, I like that a little bit better. When somebody is rude to you, calling you names, being mean, don't sink to their level. Don't get down in the mud with them. Be kind, be compassionate, be logical, be calm. And I found time and time again that you get much better results that way. Even if the person who's yelling at you, who's saying mean things to you, doesn't change their tune, and they might not, the other people, you're on social media, it's a public discussion. Other people are watching, other people are listening to what you're saying. They're going to respect how you handled that. And you're going to get a lot more traction, and you're going to be able to open up a lot more conversations with other people who are willing to listen. So those are kind of my social media tips for having a successful pro-life social media presence. Like I said at the beginning, my primary social media is Tumblr, at least for pro-life activities. And when I started on Tumblr, it was more of a personal blog. I posted about my writing. It was a lot more just kind of about me. And at one point, I had about 120 followers, okay, on my Tumblr. When I switched gears to talking about pro-life, conservative politics, things like that, it skyrocketed, and I now have about almost 4,500 followers on Tumblr. So people are worried about losing followers. I don't think that's what's going to happen if you're following these steps. If you're being kind, if you're being factual, you're speaking the truth in love, I don't think you're really going to lose followers. Or if you do, it'll be temporary. I lost followers at first, but I kept going, I kept persisting, I kept being a voice of reason, and that number went back up. So if you're worried about followers, I would say that shouldn't be your highest concern when it comes to pro-life social media. So, well, thank you, and I'll be back in a little bit with talking about the heartbeat bills and some of the legislation in different states.